In the studio, actually on TV, is the one and only George Flaggs, the mayor of Vicksburg. Good morning, sir. How are you doing, Mr. Mayor?
Good morning, Paul. How are you doing?
You COVID-free? How many times have you caught COVID?
Once I know of, and I was tested for it, and one I may have had it and didn't know it.
Yeah. Now, I've seen 4 stories from yesterday to this morning on the super immunity that people are building up by every time they get this. And my problem with that is if they haven't had a shot and they've made it through this and they still have super immunity, how can anybody ban them or if they don't have a shot? In other words, a lot of people are saying that you can get fired or laid off one way or the other if you don't have a shot, but the natural immunity is not coming into this equation, and I think that's going to be up for some lawsuit coming up sooner or later. But your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I was in Washington, D.C. for about 3 days last week at the United States Mayor's Conference, and I'm going to tell you, you couldn't go into a hotel, you couldn't go in a restaurant, you couldn't go in the store unless you had your ID and your vaccination shot proof. And then when we went in the conference, we had to take the test ourselves every day going to that conference. And it's kind of strict up there, but in Vicksburg, I just think that I'm one of these guys that you ought to take responsibility for yourself, and I'm not ready to mandate anything.
I guess that plays out at the casinos in Vicksburg also. I mean, you need to take proper care as far as health concerns and everything, but there are no other mandates there, are they?
No, not at all. I just think that if you practice social distance or if you wear masks, if you can't practice social distance, if you sanitize as often as you can, and you do it by all the things that the CDC and the experts say, I think we'll be okay. Plus, this variant now, I'm told, is very mild than the one to come. I heard in D.C. it may be as many as 15 variants coming through here. So the one to come is supposed to be much lighter as we go. I look for us to be back to normal next year this time. Yeah,
well, we hope. That's what we said. That's what we said last year. New cases and deaths recorded since January the 20th. Hang on. Since January 20th, and today is the 24th, we had new cases, 7,509 new positive test cases. That's over a 4-day period, and also over a 4-day period, 14 new related deaths. And you were saying, Mayor Flaggs?
But all that's credit. Yeah. All that's credit to the state doing a much better job on getting the tests out there, getting the vaccinations out there, and doing those things. So the numbers doesn't alarm me. It concerns me. But I think this virus is being detected and identified much earlier than it were last year this time. So you can't really look at those numbers compared to nations. This year's number, because we're doing a much better job in this state. To credit to Dr. Dobbs, the governor, and everybody's doing a much better job getting the shots. The people are doing a better job going taking the shot. I think we're above the state average in Vicksburg.
We had, and I got a soundbite in here, we'll play it a little bit later on, of the Senate grilling. I think it was Senator Burr who was grilling some people from the CDC who said absolutely the new test that they're sending out, because we've had a backlog of requests on those, the new tests that we're sending out are coming from warehouses and not from China, is what she testified under oath. And I swear to you this happened, and I sent it out on Twitter. I told my wife last week when I knew this was coming out, I says, just order a mask. Not a mask, I'm sorry, I confused it on Twitter also. Order a test, one of the home tests, and just see how difficult it is. Just give me a little report on it, how difficult it is to order a test from the Biden website and see what happens. 2 days later, we get a confirmation that the test is on the way or has been, they will send it. And that was the only caption there. Your test has been confirmed. The rest of that was in Chinese. I swear to you. And that came directly from the United States Postal Service and the Biden administration. And the rest of that, I tweeted it out. It was in Chinese.
Well, Well, Paul, I'm from Vicksburg, Mississippi. If I saw it in Chinese, I wouldn't know what it was. I wouldn't know what it was if I read it. I don't know how to read Chinese.
It's only because the test there said, here's the test. Well, I don't know what it said either, but it came from the official source and where we had ordered it, so I just thought that was about as weird as everything else. Let me go back to medical marijuana here. What's going to happen as far as the Vicksburg City, the official vote? Are you going to have a vote? Are you going to allow it? What is the official word on the medical marijuana business in the city of Vicksburg?
Well, what I'm going to do is wait on the legislature. Whatever they tell us to do, that's what we're going to do. I normally refer to my local legislative delegation, but I don't know enough about it. That's what I'm saying, because you got two versions of it, and I just think it's premature to try to speculate and confuse the people even more when you don't know what's going to come out of conference.
Do you think is it a board, a council? I'm not sure exactly how you guys are made up, but do you think there's enough votes there to, or is it to where are we talking about if you don't vote on it, it automatically becomes legal to sell it in Vicksburg?
I don't know which version. I don't know which version will pass, but I can
both versions say the same thing about that. Both versions say the same thing about that, though.
Well, what I'm going to recommend to my board that we do accordance with the law and not be conflict with it. If it says vote, we'll vote. If it not, we'll just go straight through it. I'm not hung up on marijuana. What I'm hung up on is that the fact that if it comes near Vicksburg and we don't get tax revenues from it.
Well, I mean, you are supposed to get some tax revenues as far as the state's concerned. Now, how they use that, I'm not sure.
That's what I'm saying. That's my only concern, the money.
Yeah.
I think the money ought to come to the local community, the municipality.
What are your thoughts as far as the personal income tax? How do you think that ought to play out?
Well, I've heard it. I don't think there's such thing as a tax swap. I think that you're either going to reduce the taxes or you're not going to do anything but play games with it. So I'm going to wait and see what they come out with. I'm not for or against none of the bill. I just want to see how it's going to affect the city of Vicksburg. And as a personal taxpayer, I'm not hung up on whether we get rid of the sales tax or the personal income tax. I've lived this long, and taxes hadn't killed me, so I can go on to my grave.
Yeah. You and I have had many conversations over the years, and I think you need to buy a saddle for that fence because you're straddling that fence more now in your old age as you ever have.
Well, I'm an independent, too. I'm not trying to hurt my money coming from the state or the federal government.
All right, so I'm not going to get anything else out of you on this one, but tell me what's going on in Vicksburg. Any good news?
Oh, great news. I think we are still doing what we need to do to stimulate our economy, our restaurants, our tourism revenues are up. People are visiting Vicksburg like never before. We're preparing to build a port, a new port in this city, and as we do that, we're looking for resources from the federal government, which I was in Washington, D.C. last week, walking around and trying to put my hands on some from the Department of Transportation. And we're looking for state, and we're going to put some skin in the game at the local level. I think it's needed if we're going to grow this city and create jobs. The other part of this, we'll open a road, a bridge to our outlet mall that we've been trying to get for years. It's finally open. We think we're going to spur some growth on retail development in that area and some restaurants. I think we're growing. As I travel, people are asking about Vicksburg. We have 3 or 4 our commercial buildings being converted into residential apartments and lofts. We got 32 houses being built in the South Part, 58 on another area that's going to be built. So we think we're going to be meeting the needs.
You got it.
We still believe we're heading in the right direction.
Appreciate the update, sir. As always, I thank you. Do not